Hello my students of class 8. In this class, we will start a new chapter. Chapter 8, Expansion of British Power in India. So let's start my students. Victory at the Battle of Plassey brought the English East India Company total control over Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. It also became the undisputed power in northern India after the Battle of Buxar. The British followed two strategies for expanding power in India. One is peaceful annexation and another is military conquest. They also annexed some territories under the pretext of maladministration or misgovernment. Now, let's talk about the subsidiary alliance. Lord Wellesley, the Governor General of India, introduced the policy of subsidiary alliance in 1798 to expand the British power in India. The new system made it clear to native kingdom that they must accept the alliance and receive British protection in case of an internal revolt or a foreign aggression. There are certain terms and conditions that the Indian rulers had to accept. No ruler could wage a war or seek peace without company's permission. British troops would be permanently stationed in the kingdom, enjoying control over a part of the kingdom to meet their expenses. Indian ruler would have to pay for the maintenance of the troops. In real terms, this alliance was a trap, and signing it was actually surrendering freedom to the British. The first royal to accept it was the weak Nizam of Hyderabad. This subsidiary alliance led to the expansion of the British Empire in India and an increase in its resources. The Indian rulers of subsidiary states became puppets in the hand of the British. When the administration collapsed, the British annexed the kingdom on the grounds of misgovernment. Now come to our next topic, subjugation of the Marathas. The subsidiary alliance aided the British in subjugating the powerful kingdom of the Marathas. Subjugation means the act to bring under control. Clear? After the Third Battle of Panipat, the Maratha power was temporarily devastated. It had a resurgence during the reign of the Peshwa Madhav Rao. He was succeeded by his brother Narayan Rao. The young king was assassinated by his uncle Raghunath Rao. Maratha leaders were not ready to accept Raghunath Rao and they drove him away. Madhav Rao too, the infant son of Narayan Rao, was put on the throne. Then Raghunath Rao appealed to British assistance at Bombay, and these two parties signed the Treaty of Surat. The British seized the opportunity to enter Pune, starting off the First Anglo-Maratha War. Nana Fadnavis, the Maratha leader, united all the Maratha chiefs and they defeated the British army sent from Bombay. To recover the lost prestige and position of the British, Warren Hastings sent an army from Bengal. Neither side was able to win a victory. Then finally the Anglo-Maratha War ended after a few years by signing the Treaty of Salwai in 1782. The British accepted Madhav Rao too as the Peshwa. They dumped Raghunath Rao and gained places like Salsette Basin and adjoining areas of Bombay. There was no war for the next 2 decades. Now, let's talk about the Second Anglo-Maratha War. Peshwa Madhavrao II died in 1796 and was succeeded by Peshwa Bajirao II. In 1800, Nana Fadnavis also died, and his death complicated the situation further. Peshwa Bajirao II was too weak to curb the trouble. In 1802, Holkar removed him from the throne and replaced him with Amrit Rao. The offended Peshwa sought British help to regain his kingdom and signed the most humiliating Treaty of Basin with them. It came as an insult to the entire Maratha nation. The Peshwa was not happy with its terms. He secretly encouraged the Sindhia and the Vosley to rise against the British, and in this way the Second Anglo-Maratha War began. The combined forces of Sindhia and Vosley were defeated in the battle and had to sign the subsidiary alliance. The defeat in the Second Anglo-Maratha War was a severe blow to the power and prestige of the Marathas. Our next topic is the Third Anglo-Maratha War. Despite accepting the subsidiary alliance, the Peshwa resented British domination and wanted to recover his independence. The British were aware of the Maratha resentment, and in 1817 the Peshwa was forced to sign another humiliating treaty, that is the Treaty of Poona. It abolished the Peshwa's post and reduced him to a mere pensioner of the British. The Peshwa and the Maratha nobles were not ready to accept this pact. The Peshwa revolted against the British with the support of Holkar and Vosley. The British, however, struck back and defeated the Peshwa, Vosley and Holkar. The Peshwa lost his post and his kingdom was seized. Holkar entered into the subsidiary alliance. Then Vosley's kingdom became a part of the British Empire. The Maratha power finally collapsed after the Third Anglo-Maratha War, and the British became the supreme force in India. Like the Maratha power, there was another one principal adversary of the British, and that was Mysore. The British considered Mysore a major threat to the establishment of their supremacy in India. They fought 4 wars, first with Hyder Ali and following his death with Tipu Sultan to crush the power of Mysore. With Tipu Sultan's death, the British got rid of a very strong opponent in their imperialist march in India. In subjugating the powerful Sikh kingdom also, the British had to fight wars. After the death of Ranjit Singh, there was internal chaos for the struggle of power in the Sikh kingdom. The British used this opportunity to strike against the Sikhs and fight 2 wars known as Anglo-Sikh Wars. The Sikhs lost the battles completely. The whole of Punjab fell to the British, and thus the Anglo-Sikh Wars ended. With the annexation of Punjab in 1849, the conquest of India was finally completed by the British. Now, my students, come to our next point, Dalhousie's policy of expansion. Lord Dalhousie, the Governor General of India, adopted several measures for establishing the British Empire in India. The doctrine of lapse was one of them. The doctrine of lapse was the most important weapon by which Lord Dalhousie extended the British Empire to the greatest extent. According to the doctrine of lapse, when the ruler of a native state died without a natural heir, his state would automatically pass into the hands of the British. Here means a person who inherits the property after the death of its owner. That is to say, the native state would not pass on to any adopted son of the native rulers. So, in this way, Lord Dalhousie deprived the native rulers of their right to adopt an heir as sanctioned by the age-old tradition of the country. By the application of the doctrine of lapse, Lord Dalhousie annexed Satara, Jhansi, Nagpur, Sambalpur, Udaipur, etc. Nana Sahib, the adopted son of Peshwa Baji Rao, was deprived of his post as well as allowance. The doctrine of lapse caused great resentment among the Indians. The imperialist policy of Lord Dalhousie is considered one of the reasons behind the Great Revolt of 1857. Lord Dalhousie also annexed some subordinate states on the grounds of maladministration. Awadh was a subsidiary state that was seized by Lord Dalhousie on the pretext of misrule. He deposed the Nawab and annexed Awadh in 1856. Awadh became one of the main centers of the revolt of 1857. Now, my students, before I conclude this chapter, let me tell you that because of the weakness of the Indian states and superior military resources of the company, the whole of India was under the control of the English East India Company by 1856. So, my students, here is the end of our today's class, and chapter 8 also we have completed. Go through the chapter properly and write the question answer in your classwork copy. Thank you.